to deal with Dr. Madu, this whole idea of business investments in Africa. I think in a real sense, after many dire predictions that we've made in reference to Africa on this show, we can really say that Africa really might be just what? Open for business. And so let's talk about it from that perspective this morning, about all of the bad things that we've said about Africa. It seems to have what would drive any kind of investment, commercial activities away. But what about Africa being open for business now?
Yeah, indeed, that's a good news. You know, with globalization, you know, the African governments know now they can't live in isolation. They got to be part of the global, you know, economic system. And in the past, you know, there has been obstacles to African governments, you know, actually pushing, you know, trade with other parts of the world. Like, you know, with colonialism and every other thing, most African countries have always been suppliers of raw materials, not actually manufactured products. With the advent of globalization now, there's pressure on a lot of African countries to become part of the economic system. There has been a lot of obstacles to African countries being part of, you know, the economic system. A lot of them have price controls on their products, which a lot of the national, you know, marketeers don't want. A lot of them have high tariffs, you know, on their goods. A lot of them have very cumbersome systems, you know, of people getting into business. For example, in some countries, it might take you 6 months to even a year to register a company. While in most countries, like the United States and European Union, you know, it takes you a day or a few hours to register your business and you're off. So because of pressure from a lot of countries, you know, most of those, you know, obstacles have now been rectified. A lot of African countries have rectified those obstacles. You have about 53 countries in Africa, as you know. But out of those 53, we have 23 countries in Africa that are business friendly, according to the World Bank and Harvard, you know, Economic Review and all that. Number one on that list is Mauritius. You know, number two is Tunisia, you know, where you had the rebellion last year that overthrew the government. Number three is Botswana, you know. Then you have number four is Namibia. South Africa is 7th. Ghana is 9th on that list. Nigeria is 22nd on that list. Angola is 23rd. One can ask, what makes those countries business friendly? Yeah, you know, out of the 53. A, you know, security, which is number one. Most people want to invest their money, want to make sure it's there. They don't want, you know, somebody overthrowing the government overnight and, you know, riots and all that. A lot of businesses run away from that. Two is political stability. You know, investors like to make sure, you know, the government today is the one that's going to be in there tomorrow. And if there's another government, it has to be through democratic and peaceful, you know, change, not a violent overthrow that would threaten, you know, their economic listen. Three is the banking system. You know, they want to make sure the banking system has integrity. You know, if they put money in those banks, they're going to make sure, you know, they get their money back. You know, that's very important. You know, also social, you know, stability is very important. You know, they want to make sure, you know, the country is peaceful, all the relative groups get along with each other, and that, you know, makes them feel
good business.
Yeah, really, exactly. So these are some of the, you know, yardsticks to rate these countries. You know, these 23 countries. As you can see, Mauritius is number one. Mauritius is an Indian Ocean island country, and that country has been, you know, democratic since independence. There's never been, you know, any coup or any political instability. Botswana is the same. In fact, in Black Africa, Botswana has a record for the longest, you know, democratic change of government. You know, there's never been any military coups and all that in Botswana. Namibia has been stable, you know, since South Africa, you know, relinquished control over the territory. You know, Tunisia, of course, you know, just had a little problem last year, but otherwise, it has been a very calm, you know, quiet country. Morocco is on the list. Morocco has been stable to some extent.
And of course, Dr. Madu, let us take this first commercial break, and then we'll continue this conversation and talk about why other countries ought to be involved in this. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short show for today. We're